Society sells us the idea that a healthy relationship is completely peaceful. No raised voices, no slammed doors, just two people existing in frictionless harmony. When we inevitably snap over whose turn it is to do the dishes, we panic. We view that argument as a red flag, signaling the relationship is failing. But if we look at how social animals operate in the wild, a complete lack of conflict is usually a sign of an anonymous aggregation. An anonymous aggregation is a group of animals that lacks individual recognition or personal bonds, where individuals are so emotionally disconnected that they simply don't care enough about each other to fight. Primatologist Franz de Waal spent decades studying how our closest evolutionary relatives navigate their social bonds. In highly social species, aggression functions as a direct communication tool. It allows individuals to renegotiate boundaries and set the rules of engagement when living in close quarters becomes difficult. Striving for a relationship completely devoid of arguments isn't keeping the peace. It is a symptom of emotional checkout, a biological indicator that the individuals have stopped doing the work required to stay connected. Living in a cooperative group forces individuals into constant physical proximity, and that proximity inevitably generates daily friction. For purely territorial animals, like certain solitary birds or fish, the solution to this friction is simple. They use aggression as a spacing mechanism. A quick fight breaks out, and the loser is permanently driven out of the territory, so the competitors never cross paths again. Social primates do not have that option. For a chimpanzee or a macaque, leaving the group means losing protection against predators and access to resources. Survival requires staying exactly where they are. Because they cannot leave, these animals must endure constant physical and emotional tension with the same individuals, day after day, without the ability to retreat when things get heated. Since physical escape is impossible, social species evolved a psychological mechanism to process conflict within the relationship, using it to regulate the bond instead of ending it. Primatology data shows that the highest frequency of aggressive clashes occurs within matrilines. A matriline is a tight-knit family unit composed of a female and her direct descendants across multiple generations. These are the most loving family units in the primate world. These relatives share the deepest social investments. Because those bonds are so valuable, they require constant active monitoring through friction to establish checks and balances. These squabbles are regulated acts of communication. Primates bare their teeth or swat at each other to signal their interests, avoiding the type of violence that would cause permanent damage. Evolution designed a critical biological event to immediately follow these clashes: reconciliation. Shortly after a fight, primates actively seek each other out. Chimpanzees will often kiss each other on the lips, while macaques sit together to groom each other's fur. This behavior creates a dynamic equilibrium. It repairs the temporary rupture caused by the argument and confirms that the partnership is still secure. Successfully navigating this repair process makes the social bond more resilient. The connection becomes stronger than it was before the friction occurred. Reconciling after a fight hardens the bond, turning a moment of friction into the very thing that makes the relationship more resilient. Humans carry this exact same evolutionary hardware. Over millions of years, we were naturally selected to possess both a combative temperament and powerful internal checks and balances to manage it. Biologists call this fighting fire with fire. We use small, manageable conflicts to vent pressure and regulate tension, preventing resentment from building up into a massive, relationship-ending explosion. Avoiding arguments entirely creates an artificial peace. It mimics the apathy of an anonymous aggregation, where individuals have simply stopped communicating their needs. Engaging in a healthy, structured fight proves you have a deep interest in your partner. It shows you are willing to do the hard emotional work required to maintain the trust that keeps a partnership alive. The next time you find yourself in a messy argument, remember that it is simply biology enforcing your bond. If you have a loved one you frequently dicker with, send them this video. It might be the perfect way to reconcile.